that he's on camera and he's touching these little girls' faces and he's rubbing their chest and he's like literally holding them down, sticking his nose in their ear, and it's crazy. And nobody said nothing. The fly-by-night mainstream media said nothing about it, and I don't get it. I just don't get it. They just didn't. Oh, wait, no, I do get it. They're the fly-by-night, drive-by media. They're on the Democrats' side because not only have the Democrats infiltrated, and the Democrats have gone full-circle socialist at this point. Not only have they infiltrated and taken control of the media, they've infiltrated and taken control of Hollywood. You know, you have global warming movies, like that movie where we used to control the weather and it gets hijacked, and that's a global warming movie. Just like The Day After Tomorrow is a global warming political movie. And then you have these fat scum like Michael Moore out there making these liberal bias movies, and the Democrats are just jaunting around, just thinking it's a good movie. Meanwhile, the rest of the country knows it's a liberal push movie. But they're infiltrated our schools too. And back on February, the story broke on February 12th, I think. I didn't write it down. It's not in my notes. It was the 12th or the 14th. February 12th or 14th, the news broke that an 11-year-old girl was given an assignment to fill in the blanks for homework. She's 11, remember, she's a kid. It's probably 5th grade. I think 11's like 5th grade. 12 or 13 is 6th grade. 11's like 5th grade. And the sentence was President Trump, at least this brain-dead socialist who wrote this as a school assignment for kids, called the President Trump. Props for that. The sentence is, President Trump speaks in a very superior and blank manner, insulting many people, and he needs to be more blank so the American people respect and admire him. You see what the school did there? Do you see what that teacher did there? They didn't just make a political viewpoint. They didn't just make a political statement, which they shouldn't do. But the assignment was to bash Trump. There was no words that you could put in there, and they flat out say in that sentence, that he's insulting many people. They're literally brainwashing our children. I have kids. I have 2 boys. And this scares the crap out of me, and I wish I was in a position to keep them home and homeschool them. I don't even want them going to daycare because I see their daycare teachers when I drop them off every morning. I drop them off. I get up at 4:45 in the morning, and I do that because my favorite political talk radio show, besides my own is my favorite, besides my own, comes on at like 5:30. And I get up at 4:45, so I'm up. I've had 3 of these worth of coffee, and I get to listen to my favorite talk radio show. I cook them breakfast. I wake them up, get them dressed, wake Amanda up with a cup of coffee. I got to do that stuff. It's cool. But I don't even want to send them to daycare. I don't even want to send them to daycare because when I drop them off every morning, I see these daycare workers, and I'm just waiting for one to walk in with a Bernie sweatshirt on or something, and it's coming. It's going to happen, I'm pretty sure. And then we're going to have an argument, and then I'm going to switch their daycare or something. The schools have been completely infiltrated. You know, the assignment that an 11-year-old girl, a very impressionable 11-year-old girl, was given was to bash Trump. And they deducted points because her parents said not to do it and sent a note to school telling the teacher to keep her politics, or his politics, I don't know if it was a boy or girl, you couldn't tell by the name, out of schools. Keep it at home. And the school supported it. The next question on that same assignment was Barack Obama set a blank when he became the first African-American president. That was the second question in that lineup. On her homework assignment from a public school. Excuse me. Now, I would definitely say that a native-born Kenyan in America qualifies as an African-American. I would definitely say that. But the answers that they could give for these 2 questions, which were, I'll reread them here, which was, President Trump speaks in a very superior and blank manner, insulting many people. He needs to be more blank so that the American people can respect and admire him. And then the next question was, Barack Obama set a blank when he became the first African American president. And the words that you could use to fill in these answers on this kid's homework assignment was haughty. I think it was naughty. And the writer or editor, the editor missed it after the writer accidentally substituted an H for an N. Or it's just haughty, and it's a word I don't know because I'm just a public school boy who never finished. Haughty, humble, or precedent, as in that decision sets a precedent for future decisions to be made upon. So precedent. And the parents saw this and told the school, don't do that assignment. You're not finishing that. You're not doing that. And sent a note to school telling the teacher to leave her politics at home, leave her opinion at home. And I got to give it to these parents. I read the note. I'm not going to read it to you, but I read the note that they actually sent to the school over this homework assignment. And wow, this family has a lot more restraint, control, and maturity than I would have had. And I'm sure it'll happen one day when my kids come home with politically biased homework assignments from public school. They're a lot more patient and tolerant than I am of that. The fact that they sent a note home and did not go to the school to raise hell is alone the sign that they are a much more patient parent than I am. So they sent this note to school, and the teacher fought back, arguing that it was freedom of speech. Now, I'm sorry, it's not freedom of speech when you are a public school teacher, as the public school is government funded. Okay? It is government funded. All right? There's 3 functions of the government, which is basically, and it's not exact, basically pave our roads, which is support our infrastructure, keep our borders safe and secure, maintain our military, and the most big one is support the education system. That's the basis of the very 3 important things that the government does, as dictated by the Constitution, is basically infrastructure and military. So teacher fought back, saying that it is freedom of speech. No, I'm sorry. You work for the public. You are literally paid by tax dollars. You work for the public. You have no freedom of speech in that scenario. You just don't. And it's not the government trying to silence you. It's the people you work for telling you that you're not doing this and to leave your politics at home. And the school, and it was New York. I forgot to mention that. It was New York that this happened. So you know where I'm going with this. The school defended the teacher. Now, at about the same time, it broke within the week. On the opposite coast in Commie, California, a student video recorded his professor, his college professor at a university, and I don't know of many liberals. You can ask Turning Point USA what's the most, non-liberal schools that they know of, because they're a student organization. Turning Point USA is great, by the way. Check them out. Check their videos. Candace Owen is a part of that, and she's wonderful and fantastic, and I just love her. Anyway, at this Liberal Indoctrination Center college, this kid films his teacher, and the teacher, the professor, is saying that Trump winning the 2016 election, get ready for this, this is a big one, this is fun, is an act of domestic terrorism. She said that it's an act of domestic terrorism. The Trump derangement syndrome is strong with this one. And just like in New York with the 11-year-old girl's homework assignment, the schools defended her. And any government employee will tell you. The liberals have come full circle to socialism, and for years they have run our schools, they have run our government agencies. And anybody in government, including relatives of mine, have said the same thing. You are not getting ahead if you're not a Democrat and share those views, because the managers that have been there for 30 and 40 years are the uninformed, misguided, good-heart Democrat useful idiots of the 80s and 90s that they've always been. Luckily, that hasn't infiltrated a full socialism that far so far yet that we can see or feel in our day-to-day lives. We've got 5 minutes left here. I'm going to try to get through the rest of my material as quick as I can, and I don't know that I can. So the schools defunded these teachers, and if you're not a Democrat, you're not going to get ahead in the government. You're not going to get promoted. You're not going to get hired for that next job because it's a lateral move. When you're in government, you hit a point, and you're mostly going left or right until you get promoted in one of those positions. Then you move left or right there, and then you promote it. That's my understanding of it. And from what I know, you're just not going to do it. And these schools have been run for decades now as liberal indoctrination centers. And there's two good, perfect examples that I gave you, and those may not even be the best ones. Those are two that I can remember off the top of my head. And I don't really know how much worse it can get than socialists running our government. We have socialists in Congress. We have socialists running our schools. Democrats running our schools. We have them in government employee positions in management, decision makers, direction givers. And this is seriously turning into a situation where we're going to lose our country. Something needs to be done. And I don't know that it's not too late, but I just don't understand where everybody is. Why is nobody demonstrating and protesting? Why are we not marching on Washington? I did multiple times while Obama was in office. Where's the Tea Party? All right, this is worse. Okay, Obama could do a lot of damage, and he did. He did a buttload of damage. But why? Why, when we have Congress full of socialists and the most radical of Democrats and liberals, is nobody up in arms because they think we won? They think we won because the Democrats are just in Congress. They're not in the White House. I got news for you. Congress can tie the president's hands. Congress can remove a president. Democrats in Congress is the most dangerous thing that you've ever seen. The level of Democrat corruption and crime and extreme liberalism and socialism that we are seeing inside of Congress right now is the most existential threat to our nation that we have ever had. It's worse than Obama in the White House because Congress could tie his hands. Trump can't tie Congress's hands. He has almost no effect. The only thing that he can do is veto extraordinarily bad bills. And guess what? There is measures, there is processes, there is procedures that veto can be challenged. And I have 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. I cannot go into it at this point, what those processes are, although I'm thinking about doing an entire series on that. I'm thinking about doing an entire series on the Federalist Papers outside of the Americanist Radio show. I'm thinking of doing the entire coverage of the entire Federalist Papers in an individual series. For those who don't know, the Federalist Papers were written by the same founding fathers that wrote and signed the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. It is written by the same people, and it's literally their explanation. It is why they decided on what they decided and how they came to that conclusion. And the point of it, most importantly, it's the interpretation of what that is supposed to mean. In modern day, and we've had it for a long time, we have the Supreme Court. And the point of the Supreme Court is when there's a gray area. There is an uncertainty when it comes to constitutional rights or even individual cases at the state level. There's state Supreme Courts. Excuse me. The point is to interpret the law as it's written, most often constitutional law or laws that have been on the books for a very long time, and give a decision based off that, just like a judge would. They are judges, and give a decision on that. And the Federalist Papers were the founding fathers' own words explaining it and explaining their interpretation and how they got there and what they did for it, what they did, why they did that. I'm thinking about doing an entire Federalist Papers series. Let me know in the comments. Please share these videos. Let us know if you want to keep hearing more of Americanist Radio. I'm going to keep doing it no matter what. Thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate everybody who's given so much time to my new Facebook page, who in the 14 days, it's either 13 or 14, I think today's 14. The 14 days ago we started that page, it has reached 94,000 people, and 25,000 interacted with it, like, commented, or shared, and over 1,700 followed the links to the Americanist Radio page. And I can't thank you guys enough. This is a dream of mine. This is what I believe I was meant to do, and I love doing, and I'm glad to be back doing it. I should have never given it up. I did this show for 2.5 years, starting about 10 years ago, and then I gave it up about 8 years ago. I got too busy with work. I was working in EMS in a very busy city at the time, and I had to give it up, and I'm sorry. And we're not giving it up this time. We're going to keep going. I don't care if I ever get famous. I don't care if I'm ever on the actual radio. I don't care if I ever go anywhere other than this couch and that phone and this computer recording this broadcast. I don't care. I want to turn around and spend my time talking about the issues that are most important to me so I can leave a country for my kids that resembles what I grew up in. We're out of time, guys. Thank you so much for all the time that